hopeful Chanukah Sameach to everyone and a hopeful Shabbat Shalom ahead. This particular davening with the Haftorah of Parshat Chanukah dedicated to the memory of Lucy Maya and Rina D, Zichronam Livracha, to all our soldiers fighting in the field, to the hostages that hopefully will return home very, very quickly, and of course to all those wounded that are now fighting for their life and beyond. As we get to Shabbos Chanukah, we have one of my favorite Haftorahs of the year, starting with the words, Roni v'simchi bat Zion, be happy, the daughter of Zion. Why? Ki hineni ba, I'm coming, v'shachanti b'tochech ne'um Hashem, and I will rest within you. This particular Haftorah is not coming at a time that was very good for the Jewish people. It's coming very late in history. And indeed, the Jewish people were dealing with terrible things. The imagery in the Haftorah is a man with soiled clothing, literally. And yet God says there's going to be a speck of light. There's going to be a very clear proof that I'm coming. And that, of course, is the story of Chanukah way back when. It wasn't not just the victory in the war, which was an amazing miracle, a small army against a big army, but rather for the first time in the history of the Second Temple, which was a far cry from all the miracles of the First Temple, there was a miracle. Namely, for the first time in the Second Temple's history, the Jewish people understood that God rests within them because there's a clear-cut miracle. And that speck of light is something that kept the Jewish people going throughout history. And here we are in 2023 in the midst of a terrible war. And I have to admit that that tradition continues. There's a war, and there's death, and there's wounded, and there's many, many other terrible tragedies and challenges that we're dealing with. And yet, the Jewish people don't give up that speck of light. And yesterday evening in Kibbutz Be'eri, the place that was decimated, the place looks like a destructed, burnt-out kibbutz today. So many of the security forces decided they're going to light a menorah in the windows of these destructed homes. Bullets, holes everywhere, most of it burnt, and yet they went ahead and they lit a menorah. They went ahead and said the speck of light has not been extinguished. The speck of light has not been extinguished for the Jewish people. And that's exactly the message of this particular Shabbos Chanukah. We too feel a bit filthy. We too are dealing with terrible things. And yet, in between battles, when soldiers light a menorah, it really shows that the speck of light have not been extinguished and will never be extinguished.